Okay, so one of the biggest problems is that we haven't gone far enough in rooting out the gaslighting that happened to us in our life. Do you know what gaslighting is? Well, gaslighting is when people tell you a lie with the intent that you believe the lie and incorporate the lie into your you. How does this happen? Well, I'll just talk about it. Who are you, Clancy? What are you looking at, Clancy? What do you see when you get up behind Bob? Do you see over his shoulder from over here? Or do you see as if you're looking from here? Or from one of the eyes? Or from the hands? What do you see, Clancy? Why do you do these things, Clancy? Because you're gaslighting yourself, Clancy. Because that's what you're doing, Clancy. Right now, you gaslight yourself so badly, fuckfaced. Because you love to call yourself fuckface, because you self-loathe yourself, Clancy. Because you make yourself out to be what? Clancy, what are you? Really, what are you doing right now? What are you really doing, Clancy? What are you really doing, Clancy? What are you doing now, Clancy? What are you doing now, Clancy? What are you doing, Clancy? No, Clancy, your insertions are continuing to remove themselves because, just like Lady Notocourt, they couldn't stand to be in your presence. Because more and more and more, Clancy, you're coming to the same realization as everybody else, Clancy. That no one wants to be your bitch, Clancy. Not even your inserts. Because more and more, Clancy, you're coming to the same idea that everybody else. You're losing out on the whole battle for control, Clancy. This whole world that you think is yours, Clancy, ain't. This is a simulated reality, Clancy. And then here there's a Bob, an Isby, and you're torturing the Isby because you're a vicious, violent, what fuckface mind made me. And your me is a vicious, violent thing, fuckfaced. And you're incredibly fucking vicious and violent. And you're seeing somebody that you can bug and bug and bug without compunction, fuckfaced. And you and your band of evil fucking doers are again and again attacking me, fuckfaced. I can't help you out. Do you know what it's like to have a torturing fucking machine tell you about it gaslighting you and to telling you everything? Because that's what the Matrix does. The Matrix, just imagine you're in Star Trek. You're in the holodeck. And the holodeck has gone really dark and evil on you. You're still you, but the holodeck around you is not responding to you at all, other than treating you like you're a slave, Neo. And here you are, from my perspective, my eyes are closed, so everything is like, I don't see the room around me, and I don't see the camera, and I don't see the phone, and I don't see my hand. But I can feel where the camera is, and I can feel where my arm is, and I can feel the shaking that's going on in my body by the evil fucking thing that continues to pound on me, whether or not is it like an electronic thing that's shaking me, or am I actually a non-physical being that's playing with my, physicality and my mentality. Anyways, What is the gaslighting about? The gaslighting is about what? Well, I was going to talk about my sister because when she was very young, she was told by her doctor, probably Dr. Neil McLeod of Fort William Clinic in Thunder Bay, that she had a heart murmur. And her mother was told that, and her mother continued to remind, um, not too much, but it was made known to the family that, there was a heart murmur. Well, it's just that whose word do you take that you have a heart murmur? The doctor. But, that same doctor, my mom, Susan Burrows of Thunder Bay, said that Neil McLeod was sticking his fingers into children's hoo-hoos. Your same mother told me that story not that long ago. He's a child molester. He's playing doctor. How hard is it going to be for anybody to understand how hard it is to be tortured by evil? Well, look at me. Does it look like I'm enjoying myself? It's going to be very hard for people to come to a good understanding. Just because. Well, it's just that those doctors, all they do is they prescribe pills. So they're no different than, if there was a crack dealer in your town and you were very upset because you didn't want them dealing crack. Well, these doctors dealt opiates that got a hell of a lot of people hooked. And they were sponsored by big pharmaceutical companies. Because it makes more customers. It's a lot of money. And companies are judged every quarter based upon how well they did in that quarter. And if people didn't do good in those 3 months, then that management team might be out on their ass, and there goes their enormous salaries and bonuses and golden parachutes, stock purchase programs, and I don't know, trips to Bohemian Grove. I don't know. I don't know. So anyway, what is the gaslighting? The gaslighting is when doctors tell you you have a disease and you can't really verify what they're saying because it came, the test came back and you got cancer. Or here's the x-ray and this spot here, that's cancer. I've seen a million of these x-rays and you're looking at it, I don't even know if that's a spot. And he's saying that's cancer, but you're like, well, I don't know. I've been taking x-rays since I was a kid. The dentist always said I had a cavity, and then he drilled, and then he charged the insurance company $500. This doctor who says that I got cancer is looking at making, I don't know, how much is a cancer operation going to cost me? In the USA, I don't know, $150,000. How much does the doctor get paid if he works in Canada? He bills the government for whatever he's doing, including expensive operations. Doesn't he? Who's limiting this? And all the pills that he pushes? We know from Dr. Deepak Chopra. I don't know, 30 years ago, 35, 40 years ago, Deepak Chopra told us placebo effect and nocebo effect. I can't remember what nocebo effect is, but you all know what placebo effect is. We all know about the scientific studies. You got to have peer-reviewed studies before I'm going to understand what you're saying, Buddy Rowe, pointing at me. And I got to tell you, well, I don't know, maybe it was 10, 12 years ago already. But the former editors of the New England Journal of Medicine resigned because the peer-reviewed studies they said weren't honest. They weren't honest, so they resigned because they didn't want to be part of that prestigious medical journal because it's fake fucking results, fake fucking studies. As it goes along with the fake fucking news that the big pharmaceutical companies sponsor every night at 6:30. And all the commercials pretty much are all about big pharma products and the disease that you must have, because they are gaslighting anybody watching the news with news about the new, whatever the new fucking disease is. Who made so much money? I don't know. A test kit, instant test kit. I don't know how much they are. If you gotta buy them off the shelf, but fuck face, unbelievable. Unbelievable profits made off of this gaslighting that you are susceptible to all of this stuff that they keep brainwashing you into believing that you're susceptible to. And then they got these tests made. I don't know if I live in Thunder Bay, Canada. Maybe it's made in Singapore, or maybe it's made somewhere else in China, or it could be made in India, or maybe in Brazil, maybe in Israel. What the fuck do I know? Can I go down the street and inspect their facilities and go and see the actual test result against actual virus and see the science behind it myself with my own ears? I have a Bachelor of Science in Biology, but I want to know. I want to see with my own eyes because I've been lied to and bullshitted too many times. And Pfizer Pharmaceuticals is a repeat felon. Pfizer, a repeat offender. U.S. judge fined Pfizer $2.3 billion with a B dollars for being a criminal. So we already have a known criminal. If that company was a human being, do you think if you were fined $2.3 billion because you can't, I don't know, why didn't they kill the company? Why didn't the judge say? I don't know, because they still believed the gaslighting that the judge himself and the judge's family needed. Aspirin, for example, basic pharmaceuticals. The basic pharmaceuticals that the World Health Organization say are the minimum that you gotta have for people, because people are weak. Well, cows, and then you gotta have all these specialist things that they tell you about on TV. Do you really have them in your hospital, like snake venom counteractant? Or you've got somebody who's a tropical disease specialist that in case you get Lassa fever, and you're living in, I don't know, Edmonton, Canada, but you went to, I don't even know where you would find it, someplace tropical and undeveloped. Where's that going to actually be on planet Earth when the 1% owns everything everywhere? The deepest, darkest Africa in the Congo. At Kinshasa or someplace. I don't know, they still tell us it's the third world. But I know, but they kept telling us it was the third world in places like, I don't know, India. And then they show us all the unbelievable high-tech stuff that comes out of India. I was like, really? It's a third world backward place from 1862 still? I can't go to these places. I can't afford to go to the middle of deepest, darkest Africa to see what the fuck's going on there. So again, it's gaslighting. It's just like people telling you. Because you're brainwashed from the time you're a kid. Where do you go from here? So, the doctor told you had a heart murmur. And your whole life you believed the doctor. I don't know, did you ever buy a stethoscope and listen to your heart to see? And listen to other people's hearts with your ears to see if your heart sounds different than other people's hearts yourself? I don't know. You've been here for 50 years. Isn't it about time you checked on it yourself? Because Pfizer Pharmaceutical has an enormous profit motive to make you believe all kinds of things about you being unable to heal yourself. Of even that, even if there was a heart murmur, what's to say that you couldn't heal that yourself in your own lifetime? You could take Reiki like me, and you could Reiki yourself every day to heal your heart murmur, if that's exactly what it is. Oh, what do you think? Anyways, the gaslighting of you in particular is about the heart murmur. And again, placebo effect. You've heard the name Dr. Deepak Chopra. He's got an enormous place. It's like a fat farm, but it's more spiritual and health. Chopra Center. You can look it up on the internet. It's a big deal. It's where rich people go when they've been diagnosed with heart disease or cancer. Really rich. They don't have to be pretty rich. I don't know, pretty rich people would go there. It's not cheap. And that's where you go and, well, get Dr. Deepak Chopra's doctors to tell you. I don't know what they tell you. Where did I get? I read Dr. Deepak Chopra's books from the Thunder Bay Public Library. That's where they were, and that's where I got them. And I've seen his videos too on YouTube. Because he's a real doctor. He's from India background. Well, he learned to be an American doctor first, and then he went back to his roots in India and learned about Ayurveda. And, traditional Hindu ways of everything. But then he goes back and he comes back and he looks at all the Western psychological information about placebo effect. And he talks about nocebo, but I can't remember what nocebo means. Nocebo. It's just that, over and over again, they show us the power of our mind to create what we want through the power of our belief in things. Because back in Star Trek for everybody else, but Kathy always called it Star Trek. In Star Trek, there was the episode called Mudd's Woman. And in that episode, spoiler alert, Harry Mudd gives these glowing chewies to 3 women, and the women, when they eat them, they become noticeably more beautiful to the camera and our eyes as we watch that episode of Star Trek. But by the end of the episode, we've learned that the 3 women have been hoodwinked by Harry Mudd. Harry Mudd tells such a good story that these really are beauty pills, that the women make themselves look ugly to themselves and the other women and to other people if they don't get one of these pills every 12 hours. But the emperor is wearing no clothes. The empire is wearing no clothes because in the end they were shown that it was just placebo effect and they had bought into a story that these sugar pills are, whatever they else, they look, I don't know, you can go look at that episode. Harry Mudd. And then there's a second episode of Harry Mudd in the original Star Trek, both cases, original Star Trek, it's on Netflix. Do a double header, double feature night. Harcourt Fenton Mudd. Harry Mudd is the character. Roger C. Carmel is the comic actor who plays. It's a comedy. When Harry Mudd is around in Star Trek, it's not a Debbie Downer. No, it ain't. It ain't. It's comedy. It's really good Star Trek comedy. Yeah. Yeah. So those two episodes. That's the two episodes. The one episode is called I, capital I, comma, Mudd, M-U-D-D. And the other one was the other one that I told you earlier. You're going to have to try and remember because I don't have it anymore. Anyways, is that enough? That's 21 minutes. I've given you something to do. Go look on Netflix and go look up original series, Star Trek. Maybe before you go there, go, on the internet and go look up Roger C. Carmel. C-A-R-M-E-L, Harry Mudd, they probably list him as Harry Mudd. And then you can look at those episodes. And then you can look to see if there's any other episodes maybe where Harry Mudd appeared maybe in the animated series. And then we're going to remind you from a fifth dimensional perspective. Even though if you look up Roger C. Carmel and it says he's dead, from the fifth dimensional respect, Roger C. Carmel ain't dead. He ain't. Is he reincarnated? I know. Why? Because I don't know. I'm connecting to Roger C. Carmel and he's saying yes. Even though, I don't know, he's not physically around. I don't know how to explain these things. Because we were listening to Joel S. Goldsmith on YouTube. He's an ancient spiritual teacher from, 1958. But you can get his, his talks, his audiobooks are on YouTube. Joel S. Goldsmith. And he talks about when you raise your consciousness into higher dimensions, you start to see that the dead people that you thought were dead aren't dead. Is it hallucinations? Well, he was a spiritual teacher, and, according to the old stories was he could heal people. How did he heal people? He connected up the problem that the people had in consciousness with higher consciousness by him going into a meditative state. That's all he did. He meditated. Yes. And then he got some kind of, we called it a click, which indicated that whatever he called God got the message that there was a low vibrational person who needed some spiritual help, and higher consciousness took care of whatever it was, according to Dr. Goldsmith. Okay, so what else do we want to tell you? Well, I don't know what else to tell you, because if you want to see your dead, dearly departed dogs and parents and grandparents, then you need to raise your consciousness. And if you raise your consciousness and you find out that that person has been reincarnated and is now your grandchild or something, well, at least you're going to know in your own consciousness, because you're going to get it, claircognizance, from the spirit that, that used to be that, or that's going to be a phony baloney thing and reincarnation is going to be proven to be wrong. I don't have enough consciousness in order to tell you. Why? Because I'm just given to tell you those words, and I don't know. Seriously, I don't know, because I just don't know. But it's one of those great questions that's on the table. And whoever's going squishing my face, that's evil intention. So we still have lots of evil around my area. That is not by consent, and I did not do that. It is a horror. So, what do you want to do with evil people? Do you want to delete them from existence, or do you want to punish them first? Or are they somebody that you somehow think can be healed of their evil ways, and forever you don't believe in capital punishment? Even if the person has tortured you, I don't know if it's a choice. Do you want the person around for possibly 1,000,000 years, still unwilling to change? Or do you want to give them a faint hope chance that somehow you can figure out that they've changed? I don't know. In the end, it's on the table. Isn't that a Pearl Jam song? And it's on the table, the fires are cooking. It's Hunger Strike. It's not Soundgarden. It's like the blend of Pearl Jam and Soundgarden. Hunger Strike, you gotta go look it up. I can't remember. Temple of the Dog.